Hello，大家好，欢迎收看主办大哉问，我是 JC。这是一个我之前就蛮想做的一个企划，一直很想要跟我们周边的邻居、受剧主办们一起交流一下彼此的经验。那正好因为这次举办了线上活动，想说可以直接透过网络来促成这次企划，这是个很难得的机会，让我们同时跟马来西亚、泰国跟日本受剧的主办一起来交流。那就让我们来欢迎3位主办 CT Wolf、Kiyoshi 和 Satomi。那么首先就请3位轮流来自我介绍一下吧。
Hi everyone, my name is CT Wolf. I'm a wolf dog from Malaysia, and I am actually the chairman of FURUM, which stands for Furs Upon Malaysia. It is basically a furry convention here in Malaysia at the outskirts of Kuala Lumpur in Petaling Jaya. So we have been running this convention for 5 years and counting. So yes, glad to be here for this panel in Infinity.
大家好 What's up guys? I'm Kiyoshi from Thailand. I'm one of the staff and chairman of Thai Tail Convention. I'm also a dancer, fursuiter, artist and streamers. Nice to meet you all and say hello for everyone who watching live too. สวัสดีเพื่อนๆคนไทยที่รับชมอยู่ด้วยนะครับฝากเนื้อฝากตัวด้วยครับ
じゃあ、台湾の皆さんこんにちは。JMOF の、チェアマンをやっている、里見と言います。3年ぐらい前から多分 JMOF の代表をやることになっちゃってて、まあなんやかんやでちょっとコロナの時期でなかなか JMOF 開催できなかったりもしてるけど、まあ一応 JMOF 実行委員会という組織の代表をやってみんなと一緒にコンベンションを作ってる人間です。よろしくお願いします。メスケモが好きです。
那Satomi趁机传教是怎样啦？好啦，再一次谢谢并欢迎你们。那这次呢，我们准备了好多问题要来询问主办们，所以呢，废话不多说，就赶快开始吧。首先，第一题当然就是要问，是什么契机促使你想办一个受剧呢？
So, guess let's see what made us decide to start it. I would think that it all kind of started off when we first had a chance to travel overseas for a convention. So basically, a few of us, like in 2012, we actually managed to go for Euroferns, and me, that was like the first time getting to an actual furry convention overseas and learning about the convention culture. And we definitely liked it. It was an eye opener. And we thought about bringing it back, having something like this back home. But at the time, I guess our community was still new, and most of us, we actually have like local furry events in conjunction with like comic or anime conventions. Mainly Comic Fiesta, the biggest one over here. So every December we have like a bunch of furries coming together on that week of the convention. The anime convention, and we like first stood at the place, and of course just having a small gathering. And it happened pretty much every year, to the point that some of our friends from Singapore actually come up for the occasion. And in 2015 we were thinking it was about the time that we can try to start a convention. So we kind of gathered a few stakeholders in the community, put down some money, and we rented like a hall near a hotel beside Comic Fiesta for the year, and that's how FURUM 2015 was born. And kind of ever since then, it started to grow more and more. And 5 years down the road, we are now truly a standalone furry convention here in Malaysia.
Well, it was 2014 that we went to JMOF for the first time with my friends Pola, Makam and Gao. It was nice and I really love it. The atmosphere and many of fursuit and many events we could join the fun. Except that we don't understand Japanese at all. But it was fun. So when we back to Thailand, then it's just a random conversation why we still hit like by a PCD was hey, I wish I could have a furry convention in Thailand. We wanna give it to try to make a Thai furry convention. That time is very hard because most of Thai furry don't know what is a furry convention, and we like the only group that we went to a furry convention before. So we made a group of staff management, and what we did is explain what is a furry convention and what they do in the furry convention. It took 2 years to make it happen. The first time at Thai Tail Convention in 2016. I still can't thank you enough for the first group who trust me and make Thai Tail really happen. Thank you so much.
所以2位呢都是因为先参加了其他的授剧，而也有了想举办自己的授剧的想法。这跟我的经历也有点类似。我自己呢是在2010年第一次去参加美国的授剧 N4Con， 那个时候呢 N4Con 是全世界最大的授剧，然后呢那次的经验呢真的让我非常的震撼，而且呢深受感动。然后那时候呢就想说，台湾有可能也办一个这样的聚会吗？但那时台湾的授圈呢就是真的还不成熟，然后那时候呢有的毛呢可能还不到10几个人吧。所以呢，我就把这个想法呢埋在心里面，然后呢，就一直到2014年的时候，那个时候我们已经不定期的会办一些小的毛剧，然后呢，在14年年底的时候吧，一些台湾的朋友他们有去参加日本的 CamelCon， 然后回来的时候就开始讨论说，台湾应该也要办一个自己的活动啊之类的，然后我就觉得，好像时机已经成熟了。于是呢，就决定先来办一个小的来试水温这样子。然后呢，后来我就把日子选在2015年的万圣节，因为呢，万圣节是一个大家都会打扮成不同样子的日子嘛。所以呢，寿无限就是这样开始的。那关于 JMOF 的部分呢，因为 Satomi 呢他是第2任的主办，所以呢，我想要问他的问题比较不一样。那我想要问他是怎么样接下第2任的主办？那为什么会接呢？
はい、もともと JMF は第1回目の時からこうスタッフをやってて、一般のスタッフから始まって、そこから企画のリーダーやってみたいな感じでやってたんですよ。で、とある年に、前代表のクリアンが、いろいろ仕事が変わったとか、そういうんで、JMF のをやっていくことがちょっと難しいみたいな時期があって、あんまりこう JMF のメンツのところにも顔出せなくなっちゃったりとか、あとそもそもイベントに行けないよみたいな、土日にイベント重なったりとかもして行けないよってなってしまった時に、なんだろうな、ファミレスにクリアンを呼び出して一緒にパフェを食いながら、俺代表やりましょうかみたいな感じで継ぎましょうかみたいな感じで、俺の方から切り出して、じゃあさとみんよろしくみたいな感じで代表交代が決まりました。一応それまでにクリアンが来れてなかった時とかは代わりにその組織のこう会議とかを回したりとかもしてたけれども、そういう感じで結構ぬるっとこう代表交代が決まったという感じです。劇的な交代劇はなかったです
原来是这么日常的感觉啊。我以前呢也常常问 Kuriske 很多办授剧的问题，所以呢当得知他把主办交接之后就有点惊讶但原来是因为工作太忙的关系啊。好的，那我们接下来就来看下一题。觉得举办活动最艰辛的地方是哪个部分呢？
一番難しいところね。一番難しいところはやっぱり地域とのコミュニケーションかなっていうのがやっぱり多くて、参加者っていうのは基本的にそのファーリーの人たちが多いので、なんとなくこう何を考えてるかとかどういうことするかが分かるんですけど、じゃあその場所の人 に対して自分たちがどう映るのかとか、あとはなんかマスコミとかメディアが来た時に自分たちがどう映るのかとか、そういったものをコントロールするっていうのが責任重大だし一番難しいかなというふうに思います。他のなんか運営とか実務とかみたいなのは、人の力スタッフの力を借りればなんとかなることが多いし、仕事の延長線上みたいなことが多いんでなんとかなります。
So, this question on hardest to manage in the convention, I would think that it's probably the aspect of the fact that you have to multitask because us being a small con, our staff is kind of small. We don't have that much resource, so even for myself, I have to multitask quite a bit. Juggling between sometimes taking care of the guest of honor to having some panels to a point where I actually had to do a bit of DJing because there were not many DJs, and of course all the other things such as like liaising with the hotel and other stuff, etc. So I think to me that is probably one of the harder parts of it. But we somehow manage it, at least until we can get more resources for it. And I think the other one single aspect, if you're talking about one single aspect that's a bit harder to manage in the con, I would think it would be the photo walk, because a lot of planning is involved. It might be a very simple activity, but there is quite some planning involved because you have to take care of the well-being of the first store.
For me, the hardest part is what we could bring the fun to our furry convention. Like what event we want to put it in. We have so many things we want to add it to a con, but sometimes it's too risky. We cannot just solve something nice or we add to title because we not really sure is that gonna work with Thai people. Also, the budget is one of the big thing that we concern too. So we also have a lot of complaint about it, like it's nothing to do at a con and the event is too boring, but we need to keep it moving on. So it's really hard to make sure it was fun and that's gonna make people can enjoy it as much as possible.
大家觉得困难的地方都不太一样不过呢也都蛮有道理的。那其实呢对于办收据这整件事我都觉得很难啦。但真的要讲一个的话呢，我跟Satomi的想法比较像，就是呢要跟外界，尤其是饭店沟通的时候，要让他们理解我们到底是怎样的活动呢，是怎样的群体，真的是很难，有的时候呢都不知道该怎么样解释才好啦。因为呢台湾没有这样的活动形式，所以呢饭店常常就是把我们当旅行社啦，或者是公司啊。然后要讨论房间或是场地的事情的时候，他们就会直接问我们有几个人啊，要几桌啊，或者是以为我们全部都是互相认识的，所以呢他们就会无法理解说为什么我们不统一订餐，或者是呢要把订房间的事情去给他们处理。那没办法啦，就只能一再的去沟通。那面对呢其他合作的对象或者是媒体也是，就是希望他们能正确的了解我们，不会乱用名称去称呼或是去误解我们这样，所以呢彼此的沟通就真的很重要啦。那讲到困难的地方嘛，接着呢就想问问大家，在活动中遇到最棘手的状况，后来是怎么解决的呢？
一番厄介な状況な。一番厄介なのはね、勝手に救急車を呼ぶ。もうね、本当にこれだけはやめてほしいんですけれどもなんかこうトラブルがあったとかはもう最終俺が出てってこう解決したりとかはいいし、なんか幸いにしてそういうなんかこう傷害事件みたいなのとか警察沙汰とかそういうのは JM4 はないのでいいんですけれども、勝手に体調崩して勝手にホテルに救急車を呼んで勝手にイベント俺たちの知らないところで救急車が来るみたいなことは本当にやめてほしいですいや怖いな
It was last time of Title Convention 2019. 2 days before a con, my mom was telling me that my grandmother is passed away. and she tells me that I need to go back to the funeral no matter what happens. And that is the same day with Thaitel Convention 2019. So I tell all the staff that I cannot be in the first day, and that year is the first year that we make a 2 days convention. My boyfriend Aldous, he's helped me prepare everything I need, and I gave Makam in charge and look out for me while I'm disappear. And it's so many things happen on that day. There are media show up at the con, like the raffle tickets would run out in the first day. There is so many reports from the staff. Oh my god. And I was so worried and keep blame myself that I left the con. But thank you every staff and volunteer to get part to this on that day. Thank you so much.
Well, I mean, I can't really think of like any very like tricky situations. Most of them we somehow managed to fix it on the fly. But I think to me the trickiest one is probably something before the convention, especially for what we experienced in 2019, where at the point there was this issue whereby the government was more aware of like some foreign guests coming in to perform without permit, and there are actually cases where some other conventions, anime conventions, had been swarmed by some illegal enforcers, and basically they actually so-called quarantine their foreign guests, put them in jails and kind of like to check on their permits and so on. So that kind of was a bit of a tricky concern for us, and that to the point that we definitely had to go through the process. We don't know how to do it, so what I had to do was I just tried my best to go down to the government office, which runs that portion of the stuff, and pretty much ask them how to apply for it, how to bring in the guests, what is the legal requirements, the documents and all. So it was quite hard because it's something new. Trying to understand everything is a lot of information to digest. But thankfully during my visit, we managed to find an agent who actually runs this on a daily basis. Bringing in any company or organization that brings in the guests to perform. She knows how to do it for them, and just has to pay, and she settle it. So it was a lucky find for us actually. So thankfully with her help, we managed to get the permits required, for Uncle Kage and Fox and More to come as guest of honor for our convention.
哇，这题也是大家遇到的状况都蛮不一样的耶。那怎么马来西亚跟泰国都是刚好是在2019年的时候发生啊？我们这边最棘手的状况也是在2019年就是这个应该蛮多那一届的参加者知道的，就是那一年饭店不小心超卖房间的事情啦。那当时也是活动非常近了，就只剩没几周，然后我们就突然被饭店通知，就是他们要把一部分的参加者转移到其他的地方的饭店这样。然后呢，当下我们当然就是马上跟饭店去抗议啊，然后有一直去沟通，我也有跟他们讲说，参加者是不可能去接受他们这样去处理的这样。后来饭店方就是一个一个去询问愿意转移的人，然后呢，当然就是一直被拒绝啦。然后呢，饭店人员还有来问我们该怎么办，才能让参加者愿意去转移。所以呢，我们也有给蛮多意见的。还好呢，后来就是总算都是有把房客安顿好了。那听说另一间转移的饭店呢，其实非常的高级，这样事情呢也才解决了。不过后来那位负责的副理就被换掉了。好啦，讲完一些烦恼的事情呢，换一下心情。下一题想问大家，你在举办活动的过程中，觉得最美好的回忆是？
It's actually every time when the convention was end. I still remember like it was yesterday. When you saw people enjoy the convention with a smile, meeting a memorable friends and so many foreigner friends that came to Thai Tales, and it gave me feel like I really did it. And how far did we went to? It was really good feeling that I got every year. That I gave me a passion to continue doing a furry convention.
What memory am I the most fond of in our convention? Well, I think it would have to be the fursuit parade, but to be more specific, the fursuit parade where we actually had like rented buses to bring everyone to the mall, to have fun. So I think that is probably the most fun, I guess, the most complicated but fun experience that we have. Because why complicated? Because of all the logistics that we have, to arrange the bus and the timing to bring everyone, make sure everyone is accounted for, going to the mall and coming back. But it was definitely a pretty surreal experience, having the fact that bringing about hundreds of people there, parading around the mall, going up and interacting with the public. So I think that is a very nice moment that I remember for our convention, and I'm glad we actually managed to pull it off for 2 years in a row.
一番良かった思い出。まあやっぱり JMOF だと、JMOF やっぱ特徴的なのにデートトークパーティーっていうのがあって、あれはもともと頑張ったスタッフへの打ち上げみたいなのも意味も込めてて、みんなお疲れ様でしたっていうのを参加者と一緒に盛り上がろうっていう企画なんですね。やっぱあそこに出てみんなとこう JMOF やって楽しかったねとかすげえよかったよみたいな感じで言いながらこう立食パーティーでワイワイ騒ぐっていうのはやっぱ一番楽しい時間かなと思います。一応まあいろいろ企画をやってなんか笑いを取ったりとかなんか人の黒歴史を探して笑いを取るようなこともしたことがあるんですがそういうよりもやっぱりもうちょっとこうポジティブなね印象の方が強いかなっていう感じです。
不论是活动期间或是结束的时候，就是看到大家愉快的笑容啊，或者是跟别人聊着这个活动的感想等等的，这些当然都是感觉很棒的啦。那我比较想提另外一个比较不一样的感受，就是特别是在筹备活动的期间啊，跟工作团队们开会，或是聚在一起讨论事情的时候呢，大家有的时候呢很认真，然后有的时候打打嘴炮开玩笑，就是这样子的气氛对我来说是蛮美好的回忆，就是很喜欢大家就是一起为了相同的目标这样子努力，然后乐在其中的感觉吧。那讲到呢美好的回忆，就有点好奇有没有难过的回忆呢？所以下一题就是有没有发生什么让你觉得伤心难过的事情呢
？Like one cry. I guess I haven't like cried in the convention for a while. Where ever since, for the ones I visited, maybe Reference was the one that I had PCD. But well, I guess maybe in the aspect of being upset when planning or working on, a convention. To me, the only thing I can think of is it would be probably when the time when, we were setting the hotel. It's the first time working with the Armada Hotel, and we provided all the plans to put the tables and chairs drawn out nicely on the plan for them. And we've gone through it a number of times, but when it came to the actual day itself, it wasn't what we wanted. It was a bit of a mess, not really the arrangement that we asked for. So again, we had to ask them to quickly fix it. But yeah, I mean, we got a little bit annoyed on that and complained to the manager and so on. But thankfully, we managed to settle everything before the con started, which is good. But yeah, that's what normally upsets me when you have everything planned nicely and you already reminded them a couple of times, but then when it comes to the execution, it's all wrong.
イライラしたり悲しかったりした質問、イライラするのは、注意しても言うことを聞かない何回も注意を繰り返されると本当にちょっとイラッとします悲しかったりとかはあんまり悲しみはないんですけれども、まあなんかこうリハーサルJMOF ってステージがあるんですけれども、ステージパフォーマンスがあるんですけれども、そのリハーサルっていうのがあって、でそのリハーサルはすごい時間もすごい短く決まってて、 なんていうかあんまり失敗できないんですね、リハーサルだけど。だからそれがやっぱりすごく緊張感があってピリピリするというか、もう一番こうなんていうんだろうな、真顔になってこうあまりゲラゲラ笑えない瞬間が多いことが多いですね。
I actually cry. I can say it's tough thing to run a furry convention. You need to prepare so many things. You need to think what you could give to a communities, what you would make a good memorable for your attendees, and that's why we need a lot of staff to help you prepare things. And they are my friends. They are sacrifice themselves a personal time to help me prepare a convention. It's just my problem because I'm not good with the management at all. And it took many years to fix myself. But I already did it bad things with some of my friends and I do feel upset with it.
哇，这些令人压力大到不行的状况，我是真的蛮能理解的。那其实呢，会想问这题呢，是因为我是有很难过的经历啦。不过呢，不是在活动期间。那活动期间通常都是压力大到根本就不可能哭出来的啦。就是呢，办第一届的时候啊，活动那时候结束的时候呢，我是请我爸爸来载东西跟接我回去。然后回去的路上啊，他就问我有没有赚钱啊，这样。然后我就跟他说赔钱了。但是呢，我办这个活动呢，并不是为了要赚钱。结果他就有点生气这样子。不过我已经忘了我们当时是怎么讲的了。但是呢，在路上呢，就是有一点小吵。然后我觉得呢，自己做的事情就是没有被他支持，所以回家后就大哭了一场。不过呢，后来啊，活动就是越来越有起色以后呢，他现在也蛮支持我了。只是呢，就是会担心我会太累啦，所以偶尔还是会念一下啊。不过啊，父母嘛，就是总是会担心小孩的啦。那好的，难过的事情呢讲完之后，那下一题就来谈谈最让你感动的事情或回忆吧。
一番感動したことか。俺 JF で泣いたことないんだよな。一番感動したことは、そうね、でもやっぱりアンクル影を2020の時に呼んだ時に、ステージの上でものすごくこのマイクを握ってもらって JMF ってすごい素晴らしいイベントですみたいなことを言ってくれたっていうのは、あれは本当にすごい嬉しかったというか、やっぱりもともとの JMF ってアンスロコンからいろんなものを教えてもらってJMF で立ったところがあって、やっぱりこうアンスロコンもすごくこうなんて言うんだろう、親じゃないけれどもすごい親しい間柄として考えてるんですね。でそのやっぱアンクル影からすごい褒めてもらったっていうのはやっぱりやっててよかったなっていうふうに思いました。
In Title 2019, we decided to have a show from the staff team. That year, the theme of Title is a midnight carnival, and we cannot reveal that we got inspiration from the movie The Greatest Showman. And we choose one of the original soundtrack to be our final show. In the same time, a good friend of us in Japan, they also have an idea to dance in the same song at the same off, and they invited us to be a part of it. So I said, hey, is that possible that we gonna premiere that video on the closing ceremony of Title 2019? And they said okay. Everything goes on plan. I invited more Thai fursuiters to join, and we do a dance practice for like 2 months. People really love the show and the video, cause it touched their heart. I heard some people cry while we're doing a show too, and that really mean to us. Thank you the team and my Japanese friends and everyone who joined the video. Love you guys so much.
So I think the thing that touches me the most are probably like, especially when you see some of your attendees or friends came over, and then at the last day of the convention, they're actually feeling a little bit sad, I guess. Some of them actually even cried a bit as well, because I guess they had some post-con depression, that they liked the con so much that they felt that they wanted to end. So I guess that is something that I'm pretty touched for, that people actually value our convention, putting in some sentimental value, and giving that much appreciation to what we've done, which is always nice. And in fact, there was actually one experience where it was actually after the con, where we had a friend from Singapore who came out for the convention as well, and basically it was the day after, it was his last day in Malaysia. We were actually eating ice cream at the KLCC mall, and then like suddenly he just just shed some tears, and then we were wondering, oh no, what's wrong, and then he was telling us how he missed the con, hoping that it lasts longer, but that's always next year. But yeah, I'm always very grateful and touched by how appreciative people are with the efforts that we put in to the convention. It's always nice.
没错，参加者呢或是来宾分享着活动的感想或是点点滴滴，真的就是办活动时蛮大的感动啦。然而呢，一个寿聚呢能成功举办呢，是所有工作人员跟参与企划的成员一起努力的成果。那不论设想的再周到呢，自己一个人能做的事情一定会有极限，那也是会有很多超出自己领域的事情。那我这边呢，就是有好多次活动中出了各种想不到的状况，我都会看到工作人员或是义工，那有时候呢只是主持讲座的成员，他们都会很热心的帮忙，然后呢专注把眼前的问题去解决，就只是为了让活动可以顺利，不求别的这样。像是呢乐团的成员呢，他们还自费去租团练室去练习。然后日本来的 DJ 呢，为了让舞台效果更好，他们呢亲自带自己的雷射的机器飞过来。那看到大家这样热情的心呢，真的是会让我非常的感动。好，那谈了呢正面跟负面的事情，接着呢就想问问大家，从举办寿聚中学到什么，获得什么样的收获呢？
So I guess the skill that I've gained the most from it will probably be learning to do time management properly. Planning and time management are very important. Make sure that everything is on time and everything happens when it needs to happen. So yeah, I mean, before I had a chance to plan for these things, as the years gone by, we start to improve in our time management, trying to get things running as smoothly as possible. And especially when Uncle Kage came by as well, he is super on point on time management, and definitely learned some things from him as well. So yeah, I think that's one of them. And I guess the other one would be on the legal aspects of running things properly. Especially learning the processes that you need to know, permits that you need to apply, make sure that everything is legalized, especially for the convention. And of course, recently we've also started a company to make it easier for us to run the convention process, especially when liaising with the hotel and making purchases and so on. So I think that's also a pretty good experience, or opportunity for me to learn on these skills, on the documents that you need, starting a company, the taxation, and of course the accounting and so on. Of course we have our secretary and all helps handle that, but it's good that we have this experience so that again moving forward it will be much easier to procure and rent hotels.
People are different. We have so many type of people join our furry convention. Some of them are fursuiter, some of them are an artist, and some of them are just enjoy the communities. So we have to make sure it was fun, and that gonna make people can enjoy as much as possible. The furry convention are the place that people can gathering and share their interests to other people. And that is the key to make us learn that people are different and we cannot treat them the same. So we learn to provide them and let them share their point of view. What could make them enjoy the con, not just make a con that we want to make.
人をね、積極的に信用するようになったかなっていうのがあるかな。なんて言うんだろう。まあこれまで全然信用してないわけじゃなかったんだけど、なんて言うんだろう。意識的に勇気を持って人を信用するっていうことをするようになりました。で、あと、まあその信用するために向こうからも信用を得なきゃいけないから、ちゃんといい人であろうというふうにあるかなっていう、これ嫌な意味ではなくて、その悪いことをしないとか、あんまり嘘をつかないとか、そういう意味でちゃんとこう信用関係、信頼関係っていうものをちゃんと築けるような、マインドセットというか、心の持ち方が変わったかなっていうふうに思います。
大家提到的部分呢都不太一样，不过呢，真的也都是我有学到的事情啊。那我就再补充一些，对我来说学到最多的应该是怎么去领导组织、分配工作，还有与人合作沟通。因为我以往的工作大家都是独立作业的，或者是呢只跟1-2个很熟的朋友合作，所以呢要跟一大群人合作的状况下呢，就像是 Satomi 有提到，首先呢就是要能够相信他人，那不然怎么谈合作嘛？然后呢，我以前其实也是从很抗拒跟陌生人接触啦，后来就是慢慢学习，然后现在能够主动的跟他人讨论事情跟沟通。那当然啦，这也是因为有蛮多次就是因为疏于沟通啦，结果事情呢就都没照计划走的经验啊。那也才知道说呢，不管是对团队还是参与企划合作者，都要好好的沟通跟确认工作的状况等等，才不会到最后就全部都爆炸。那说到爆炸呢，大家应该都会遇到一些很奇特的状况吧，所以下一题就是来分享遇到最让你哭笑不得的事情。
笑いしたり、本当に困ったことか。本当に困ったことは、戸橋でやった2回目ぐらいのJMOF だったから、だから JMOF としては3回目か4回目ぐらいの時なんですけど、ステージのセットアップが終わらなくて深夜2時とか3時ぐらいまでこうセットアップが続いたことがあって、あれは本当にしんどかった本当だったらもう10時、11時か、11時には終わらなければいけないものが、もう全くこう、セットアップが終わってないから、ホテルの人にもう使わせてくださいっていうふうに頭を下げて、使わせてもらって、で、もう本当に3時か4時ぐらいまでやって、で、最終的にもう、これ以上はダメだっつって打ち切りになってで、次の日もう睡眠不足でボロボロの体でこう朝臨んで、そのステージのオペレーションルームのとこにレッドブルの缶がボボボボボって並んで参加者の人からお疲れ様ですって言われた時は本当にねっていうふうに思いました。
時はやばかったですね。
時はひどかった。
Well, ridiculous situation. This is quite an interesting question, but I don't think we've really seen anything like very ridiculous so far at our convention. But of course, like there were 1 or 2 instances where guest honors got a little bit excited, should I put it? But other than that, I would think maybe this particular scenario. So normally every year, we have this foldable tent that we bring to the convention, and we always deploy in the pursuit lounge, so that someone could actually use it to change if they don't want to use the toilet. So and every time at the end of the convention, the ridiculous thing would be that no one knows how to fold it back. So we always have this issue whereby we try to fold it back and it doesn't work, and I try this, that, it doesn't work, and then and like to the point that we even like say whoever manages to fold it will get free dinner and so on. So yeah, in the end, I think one of our Singaporean friends actually managed to help us hold it in. So I think that's just pretty funny and ridiculous that like we manpower is just like we can actually run a convention, but then we don't know how to fold foldable tent. None of us really know how to fold it up.
In Thaitel 2019, one of our staff found someone who looked upset at the table outside the Dead Dog room parties. We decided to ask them what's happening, and they cry and talk about the thing that make them upset with the fully emotional. And they asked that staff, "Can I break this glass table? I'm too straight and I will pay for it." No, please, no. I know you are upset, but please don't break anything so we can run the con next year in this hotel again.
好多奇怪的状况，哎，大家真的都是很辛苦啊。那我们这边活动上，我是没有特别想到很奇怪的事情。不过呢，平常在管理活动官方的社群网站的时候啊，像是 FB 啊、推特啦，对，我们会常常收到别人私讯问我们各式各样的问题，但是呢，有些真的就是超过活动方能回答的范围了啦。像是啊，有人呢就会以为我们会提供寿装的贩卖啊，或是出租，然后会来问我们价格，或是问我们要去哪里买寿装啊之类的。那有人呢会把其他的活动的消息搞错，以为是我们的活动，然后会来问我们某些资讯，但那是别的活动的事情啦。然后我们有摆摊的部分嘛，然后就有人以为这个社团的商品啊是我们官方在卖的，就会直接来问说，他要买某大出的商品，那我们的纪念商店呢怎么都没有？哎呦，这些问题就是让我们工作人员都很头大这样子。好的，那下一题呢，就接着来问问大家，有没有很想抱怨的事情呢？
すごく文句を言いたいこと？物申す？どこに物申すとか言うんだ？どこに物申す？参加者に？界隈に？
どこなんだろう
ああ、まあなんだろうな。物申したいことか。なんだろう。ツイッターに書いちゃいけないことを書くでないっていうことですかね。これは普通の一般的なファーリーに向けてもそうだし、我々のスタッフに向けてもそうだし、
おっと
ツイッターに書いてはいけないことを書くなと思います。ちゃんと良識を持って行動してください。
As you know, Thailand is a very hot country and it's really hard to wear fursuit in Thailand. In Thai Tales, every year we try to tell the hotel staff to lower the temperature for us, but mostly they are ignore our request. And in the same time, our attendees still complain about the temperature is too hot every year. Oh my god, that is the one problem that we don't really know what to do. It's happened every year.
So, anything that I want to complain about, well, I would say not too much. I mean, it takes a lot for me to really complain about something. I use the 3-strike rule, the baseball rule, 3 strikes and then you're gonna get it from me. But I would say the thing that probably annoys me the most would be I guess people who do not communicate properly with you, even if they have a problem or something. So I don't really like people who are, I'm a very straightforward person, so I don't really like people who, hide or can't discuss upfront when you have a problem. If you to me, you say everything is good, but in the back, everything is not good, things like that. Then you procrastinate your task over that, to the point that you don't fulfill your task on time, so that's kind of annoying to me. So I would prefer it if they would just come up to us or to myself, just discuss it out front, this is a problem, I don't like this or what, and we try to find a solution around it, because communication is key to be successful in terms of going about tasks. You want to have people who just have problems and not talk to you, and then in the end it gets problematic when it comes to the actual period when you need to get serious on the task.
哦，这些抱怨我完全能够理解啦。那我来举一个或许大家会有共鸣的例子吧。就是呢，因为受剧多半是举办在饭店，有比较多可以自由活动的公共空间，那偶尔呢会出现一些有心人士出没在会场附近，或是出入口啊之类的地方。但是呢，他们不愿意报名进场一起跟大家同乐。就是在外面啊等着毛毛啊或是朋友出来跟他们相见。这个嘛，大家可以想一下啦，如果我们没有在这里举办授剧，那就根本不会有这样子同乐的机会啊。那如果呢每个人都不愿意报名，就只待在饭店的公共区域，那活动其实也办不成了嘛。这样讲呢，希望大家都能够了解为什么尽量避免不要这么做啦。好的，那么问到这边呢，还想问各位有没有想补充的一些经验呢？所以下一题就是还有什么印象深刻想要分享的经验呢？
It's still unbelievable for what we did. Thai furry fandom is very small. We don't really know what is a furry convention back then, and now we created one. We are all grows as a community together, and we're glad to be a part to grow a furry community in Thailand. We still don't believe that we can raise so much money for the charities. I feel like I owe a lot to the communities, and I still thank you all that really supported us and keep visiting Thai Tales and telling our fun story to the others. And yes, we will keep doing it and do our best to grow our community. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Well, I guess the most impressive thing that I can think of is that our team, even though small, we actually managed to run the convention very well, So again, kudos to the team, for being able to multitask, juggle a lot of tasks, and to do the things they do well to make the convention successful. Well, and of course, the other thing that I guess something that is unique about our convention, which I don't know if it's considered impressive or not, but I guess I could say that we're probably the only convention in Southeast Asia that has a very small Moto-first gathering, which we've taken inspiration from Eurofurence as well. I see that we have quite a few people like ours here, and then we decide to have a gathering every year for that. So that there's something unique for I would say.
印象深かったことか。やっぱ個人的に印象深いのは堂々と女装ができるってところかなっていうところかな。やっぱり自分はステージというかジェームフの最終日に必ず女装をするっていうのがお決まりなんですけれども、それはいろいろな意味があって実はそのファーリーの中にはいわゆるそのマイノリティといいますか、LGBTQ だったりとか、そういう人たちが多いっていう事実があって、それに対してもう少しでもみんなポジティブに自分たちのことを表現できるような場っていうのが欲しいなっていうふうにずっと思ったんですよ。だったらやっぱそれなりに前に立つ人間がやっぱそこはちゃんとパフォーマンスで示さなきゃなっていうふうに思ってて、じゃあ女装するかって言って今これまで着たかったドレスを着てちゃんと なりたかった、姿になって、自分の場合はファーリーだけど、そのなりたい姿っていうのは、まあもちろん獣の姿にもなりたいんですけれども、男の姿じゃなくて女の姿にもなりたいっていう願望があるので、まあ、そういったこうなんだろう、まあ、自分になりたいものを叶えるっていうものをやっぱ形で見せてあげるのが大事かなと思ってて、でそれに対してすごくこう参加者がポジティブに受け止めてくれたっていうのは結構印象深いですね。
哇塞，我不知道傻透明会穿女装哎，我想下次有机会去追幕府的话，要好好欣赏一下啦。那我这边印象深刻的事情嘛，想到第二届的时候，当时我们还是用自己的车去把东西载去会场的。不过当时呢，12岚开的车呢是一台小车，结果呢，我们的东西就把那台小车给塞爆，然后还硬坐了3个人进去，然后当时我们身上也是全部都堆满了东西。不过那样子开车真的是很危险啊。所以我们后来就是有开始请搬运公司来帮忙搬货了。那其他的像是寿无限第3、第4届的饭店呢，它有个很大的特色呢，就是它在中庭有个很大的弹簧床，可以让大家可以玩。那整体的布置风格也很活泼，我算是蛮喜欢那家饭店的气氛。第4届的时候啊，乐团表演结束时呢，饭店的大老板啊才跑出来跟我们说，他有好多私藏的高品质的音响可以拿来给我们用。天哪，你总不早说啊，表演都结束了啦。所以后来我们呢人数真的就是容纳不下了，只好跟这间饭店道别，所以呢也没有机会看到老板的私藏音响了啦。那接下来下一题是，主办的工作跟责任很重大，是否有影响到自己正职的工作？如何分配时间处理活动的事情呢？
It's not affect my main job that much, but it's affect my personal life more. But thank you people around me who supported me, especially elders. He's helped me a lot because mostly I'm doing con stuff when I'm home with him, and that means it took our personal time too. And I like to ask him for an idea or feedbacks many times, and he's always happy to help. Actually, I got like a lot of skill and information from my main job that helped me make things for titles. not for management, but for like art and design. Like I know the workshop that I can make the decoration. Like I know the paintery who can create me a con book or factory that can make me a nice title merchandise in a lower price, and and actually they kind of like monopoly with my company, and yes, it's break my company rule, so please keep it secret.
本業への影響はめちゃくちゃありますまず GM4 をやるにあたって、本業がしっかりしてないとスタッフの仕事なんてできませんので、仕事はあんまりこう仕事を炎上させずにスケジュール管理もちゃんとやるようになったし、なんだろう、仕事が本当に押しちゃうとスタッフができないっていうので、ちゃんとやろうっていう風に気持ちになりました。あとはやっぱりこう代表をやってたりとか、こういう組織を回すっていう経験っていうのはなかなか日本の組織では経験できないことなので、例えばファシリテーションもすごくうまくだったりとか、あとはなんだろうね、こういろんな知識がつくんで、会社の中でもなんかいろんなことをよく知ってる人になったりとかそういういいことはありましたね。ただやっぱりその仕事が終わって家に帰ってきて、その後じゃあ夜から会議っていう風にやるんで、もう体力はめちゃくちゃ使うんで結構大変です。GM4 の直前とかはもう本業がちょっと有給取ろうかなとか休みを取ろうかなとかまあ何らかしらのこう圧迫はあるかなっていう感じです。
Okay, so for this item, well, yes, it does take some of my time off work, to help to plan and all to work with the group to run the convention. So what I normally do is, again, I do have a 9 to 5 kind of job, although I am fortunate enough to have it be a bit more flexible. So lunch hours is, I can go out for a little bit longer if I need to, but as long as I put back the hours in. But this is why normally what I do is we try to have meetings with the hotel or with any other business partners or let's just say companies, especially the goodie bags and stuff. If we need to procure stuff or meet with the manager of the hotel, we try to do it around lunchtime. So around 12, around 12 to 2, that's the time that I'm really comfortable with, so that I can come off from the office, go around the zoo with our stuff, and then can go back to the office if it's needed on a weekday. And other than that, well, especially during the convention week itself, for me, taking annual leave is a must so that I don't get bothered by work. So normally I try to take about a couple of days off before the convention and about 1 to 2 days after the convention, so we can actually, clean up, everything, make sure everything's good, make sure our guest of honor leaves, everything's okay, and of course, we also have about 1 to 2 days more to bring our friends from overseas to, go around town, do some sightseeing as well.
果然大家或多或少都有牺牲到自己或是工作的时间，才能成就这样子的活动啊。我自己的工作因为是接委托的，时间比较自由弹性。不过呢，也是因为这样啦，反而投入到受剧的时间比重呢就越来越多了。后来几乎就是一整年都在思考规划活动的事情，因为我是习惯事情越早处理完越好啦。所以能开始弄的部分呢，就会想尽早开始。那活动接近的那几个月，基本上我就不太接委托，然后就专注在活动上面。所以画画的时间呢，跟往年相比的话呢，就大幅减少了。有的时候其实是有点想要在活动中摆摊啊，接一些现场委托画画，但是呢，我想我应该会被工作人员打死吧。所以呢，像我自己呢，在工作上算是影响很大的。所以呢，接着就想问各位呢，成为一个主办之后，对自己造成什么样的影响或改变呢
？Well, to me, I mean, it's actually nothing really. I mean, being a conchair and all, it doesn't really change myself. I'm still me, and basically, to me, I don't see it as a way to get fame. I feel that that's the wrong kind of mentality. It doesn't get you fame, to be honest, and for what I see, the only downside would be that I have to be a bit more mindful of the professionalism and personal ethics involved. Because sometimes being a front-facing image for a convention, being the one that stands up there to speak to people, some people might see you as a role model. So I feel that might be an obligation for myself to present myself well to people, So I guess that's the only thing that I have to be more mindful of.
見られてるということですね。もの言動姿、その他もろもろツイッターでの発言すべて、見られてるなということを学びました。すごく変なことは言えませんしまあちょっとたまに目つけもとか言っちゃうけど人から見られてるということをすごく意識するようになったし、見られてるなりの仕草というか言動振る舞いをするように、した方がいいなということを学びました。
It changed me a lot. It's my first time for doing management. This is the first time I'm being in charge of such a big scale event. It is something I never done before. I got so many opinions from you guys, from my friends around me, from my boyfriends, or even my mom. Being able to receive a different kind of opinion has made me understand other people more. So I had to adjust and make myself a good organizer. In the first year, I was very self-indulgent and my friends who work with me did not like it at all. It's a big reason that I need to apply the opinion from the other people around me too. And they are people I love. Thank you. Thank you all so much for helping me. Thank you.
大家提到的这些点啊，或多或少我也是有被影响啦，像是要多多接受别人的意见啦，或是更专注自己的言行啊等等。另外呢，想提一个对我最大的影响呢，是自从开始办售剧之后呢，我在看圈子里面发生的大大小小的事情的时候，角度呢都会变得比较宏观一点啊。以前呢，我可能会觉得是很严重的事情呢，其实现在看起来都会觉得是小事。那另一方面呢，我之前常常做梦都会梦到在办售剧，然后梦到活动里面就是会有各种的出包，或是会往奇怪的方向举办之类的。那还好现在是有少一点啦。不过像是现在啊，已经2届都没有举办实体活动了，所以呢，下一题就想问问各位，除了活动无法举办，肺炎疫情对你的聚会组织是否有造成什么影响？或是对当地授圈有什么影响呢？
As you guys know, Thaitel is the first furry convention that announced to postpone because of the COVID-19, and it affects us a lot because that was 2 weeks before the con date. So basically, most of people already register and book everything and be ready to come enjoy Thaitel 2020. And then in the first week of March, everything just happened and it went so bad very quickly. So we need to decide for how we are going to do about this because every choice seemed to be very risky for us. And then when we announced to postpone the con, everyone just contact us immediately and ask for help to cancel the hotel book or plane ticket, everything. We try everything we can to help them and it gives us a very hard time.
コロナの影響はもうめちゃくちゃあります。GMF はそもそも1年に1回しかそのイベントをやらない組織なので、1年イベントが潰れると、丸々2年俺たちは何もやることがなくなるわけです。で、そうすると2年間その目的を持たないで組織が存続をするって結構難しいんですよ。だから組織をこうみんなのモチベーションを下げずにこう組織をこう維持していくっていうのがすごくこのコロナでは影響を受けたというか、もうめちゃくちゃそれが大変でした。みんなの心が離れないようにとか、下手すりゃもう GMF とかだけじゃなくてもなんかファリー別にいいやってなっちゃう人もいるし、やっぱ2年ってすごい大きい時間なので、そこのなんだろうね、みんなとの距離っていうものをどれだけ離れないかっていうのはすごく意識しました。で、界隈というかその日本の獣界隈全体でいうと、ちょっとなんか嫌な分断が起きてるかなという印象が今もあります。というのも、このコロナの中で自粛をしなきゃいけないっていう大前提がある中で、やっぱツイッターだといろんな情報が出てくるわけですよ。そうするとなんかあいつ遊んでんじゃんみたいなとかなんかこっそり遊んでるけどなんか俺は自粛してんのにみたいな感じで、ちょっとそういうなんか嫌なこう嫉妬じゃないけど、こうしなきゃいけないのにお前はなんでやってないんだみたいな、そういう分断がちょっと起きてるかなっていう印象を今抱いてます。それはすごく嫌だなって思うし、でも残念ながら自分の力じゃどうしようもできないものなので、だからなるべくツイッターに書いてはいけないことは書くなというふうに思います。
So yeah, I think it's pretty obvious, with the COVID situation here in Malaysia, we had to postpone our convention. I would say twice, once in 2020, and then in 2021, we're thinking that it might get a little bit better, but with the Delta variant and who knows other variants that are coming up, so we've kind of licensed the hotel to try to get it postponed to 2022. So we've kind of done that at the moment. So don't really have a choice. It's, I guess, for the best at the moment. And I guess in terms of like how the fandom has reacted with COVID and all coming up, of course, film meets and all are definitely a bit less. Like, even for myself, sometimes every week we'll go out and have dinner with friends, or at least some of our closer friends as well. But now I can't really do that. Birthday celebrations and all, we have to, we won't be able to do that. But at least for most people, they come on to VR chat, as a secondary means of socializing. So I think that's what I'm seeing. More and more people, coming online to play VR chat or other means of platforms to socialize with friends and all. And I guess that is kind of helping out quite a bit. At least being able to become your so-called true self and chatting with people with the same interests, hang out in worlds. So yeah, I mean that's what I see at the moment.
唉，这波疫情啊，真的是让很多的人事物都改变了很多啦。我们活动呢也没有想到会延第二次，但呢也是因为不想要因为这样就整个活动组织停摆了，我才会想要举办线上的活动。想想呢，在这种情况之下呢，还可以怎么样带给兽迷们一些活力？那这2届我们举办线上活动，确实也学到了很多以前不会想到要尝试的技术啦。而台湾的兽圈呢，也开始有更多的人去接触 VR Chat 啦。那今年呢，则是 VTuber 慢慢变多了，所以呢，面对疫情呢，大家也转变出了不同的互动的形式。这也是我感到比较欣慰的地方吧。好的，那么很快我们就来到最后一题啦。最后一题，希望主办们可以给大家一些比较具体的建议。如果有人说他想办一个兽剧，想寻求你的建议，你会给他什么样的建议呢？可以讲一个就好了。
2つアドバイスしてもいいかなコンベンションをやるんであれば、まず、主催の一番の大きな仕事は妄想をすることなので、ちゃんと妄想をしてください。自分が何をしたいのか、どういう世界が欲しいのかっていうのをちゃんと考えて、いろんなもの、特にアジアの人間だったら欧米のコンを見に行って、なんでこいつらはこんなでかいとこでこんな楽しいことをやってるんだっていうこんなことをやりたいなっていう気持ちを持つっていうことが大事かな。で、自分のイベントはどういうふうにしていきたいっていう想像力がすごく重要です。で、その想像力をちゃんとスタッフに伝えられるか伝えられないかでみんなのモチベーションっていうのは変わってくるんで、なるべくその自分の想像を言語化して伝えられるようにしてください。で、もう一つは、その想像っていうか自分の抱いた妄想みたいなものを実行するためのエネルギーみたいなのが必要で、それに必要なのは静かな怒りなのでそれをちゃんと持ってください。なんていうか、別に本当に怒ってるわけじゃなくて、なんで俺たちにはこれがないんだとか、なんで俺たちにはこの国にはないんだとか、そういうやりたいことに対して慣れてないこと、なんか自分がそこに到達してないことに対しての不満とか怒りとか、そういったものをちゃんと自分のエネルギーに変えられるようにやらないとコンベンションをやるっていうモチベーションはなかなか続かないです。単純に楽しいからとかわーいとか責任感だとか、そんなもんじゃコンベンションのエネルギーは続かないので、一番の原動力である静かな怒りを抱いてコンベンションを立ててください。コンベンションはちゃんといろんなところで立たないと、このコロナでも分かったようにすごく儚いものなので、一つのイベントがずっと永続するなんてことはないので、できるだけたくさんみんな力を合わせていろんなコンベンションを作っていってくれればと思います。
So, I guess my only advice to them would be that you have to be realistic. So, don't like try to overachieve or something. Don't try to force yourself to make it like the biggest thing in the world. You have to size it accordingly, and based on whatever amount of resource, manpower, and like in terms of the finances that you can put into it, just start the convention in a realistic size that you're comfortable with. So just don't overcommit. So that is my best advice to you out there.
Is no need to hurry. Just keep looking or studying. It's not easy to make a furry convention. Maybe you are start with the furry meetings, so you can know how to organize it and how to make people want to come back again. Make an event or things everyone can enjoy it. And also don't worry to try new things. Be different is okay. Everything can be good or bad, and you just need to try and make it happen. And of course, accept an opinion. And don't forget you still have friends around you or anyone who wants to help you. Good luck, guys. Good luck.
哇，大家的建议都很不错诶，从大方向想法上的，然后到执行面上的，再到个人心境上的，哦，我想讲的都讲完了耶。那我就提一个我自己最有感的好了。聚会的本质啊，就是一群人的组合，不管是工作人员，还是参加者，还是合作对象。但是呢，人们不是机器，总是会有不可控啊，或是无法互相理解的地方。所以呢，一定要注重与他人的沟通，同时呢，也要记得，就是要感谢所有帮助过自己的人。那我自己也还在持续的学习，并一直在修正自己。所以希望所有正在举办受剧的大家都一起加油吧。好的，那么所有的问题呢，就到这边告一段落了。希望这次呢企划呢能带给大家一些收获。那非常感谢3位主办拨空来参加这个企划。最后呢，再请各位轮流的跟观众们做个结尾吧。
All right, I guess that's all, folks. Well, thank you for coming for this panel, and I'll again like to thank JC for inviting me and all the other panelists to join this panel. It's a lot of fun. So I guess we'll see you next time. If you've ever had a chance to come visit Malaysia and all, do let us know. And we'll definitely be excited if you're able to attend Purim next time. So yes, see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you for having me. Thank you, JC, for inviting me to join this panel. And also thank you so much, Infinity Online, and who all made this happen. We really need this, you guys. You guys are the best. Maybe now we cannot see each other or hug each other or have fun together, but I'm really sure it will be normal again soon. And if you guys come to Thailand, please come join us at Thai Tail Convention. Thank you guys so much. ขอบคุณนะครับ ขอบคุณคนไทยทุกคนที่ติดตามรับชมด้วยนะครับ ขอบคุณครับ
じゃあこんなコロナの時代ですが、皆さん感染予防してなんとかコロナを抑え込んで来年またみんなで集まれるようにしましょう。インファニティにもぜひ行こうと思ってるんで、来年、君たちの国でお会いできることを、楽しみにしています。じゃあまた会おう。じゃあねー。バイバイ。JMV にも来てねー。バイバイ。
再次谢谢3位，也谢谢在荧幕前观赏的大家，谢谢协助帮忙这次企划的所有的工作人员。那希望我们很快可以在未来的活动中再相见啊！拜拜。
Okay.